So anyway, Warner Brothers was searching for a new director for the Batman franchise, and around 1994-ish, they found him, Joel Schumacher. They picked him because they showed that he could handle the dark touches of the Batman storyline, but he could also direct a bit of a family-friendly-esque film. The result was eventually Batman Forever, which came out in 1995. However, Michael Keaton would no longer play Batman. He was originally supposed to play him in this film, but shortly after Tim Burton was no longer announced as director, he left the set. Then he returned again just because he decided, you know what, if this is going to be my last role as Batman, I might as well do it just to test it out with this guy. Eventually, he was all scheduled to play Batman, was even fitted for the costume, ready to play, looked at the script, and quit for good. Eventually, they had to find a replacement, and the result was Val Kilmer. He wasn't the best Batman, but he did play a good Bruce Wayne, or at least I thought he did. Batman Forever pretty much was the first Batman movie I ever saw, and I'm a big Jim Carrey fan. Jim Carrey plays the Riddler. The movie also features Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, the Harvey Dent character who was played by Billy D. Williams in the 1989 Batman film, was supposed to become Two-Face in 1992's Batman Returns. However, something happened and they didn't follow up on it. And instead of having Billy D. Williams play him, they had Tommy Lee Jones. I'm guessing they just had him play him because he was a bigger star. Batman Forever pretty much is all about backstories and introduces Robin into the film. Robin wants revenge on Two-Face, and in the meantime Batman wants revenge on the Riddler for trying to kill his girlfriend. Not much to say here about this film. Other than it was a lot more kid-friendly, which I really don't have that much of a problem with. But the movie's plot is really nothing really special, and the script kind of sucks, especially with some of the lame one-liners. This is not the worst Batman film, but it just feels a little too dumbed down from the previous ones. Although I did hear the movie was originally supposed to be a lot longer and darker than it was. The final cut of the film was 2 hours and 2 minutes long. The full version was supposed to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. It was supposed to be a lot darker than the version we all know, but that ended up on the cutting room floor because Warner Brothers wanted a more kid-friendly Batman because everyone hated Batman Returns because of its darkness. Overall, Batman Forever is pretty good, but it's a little on the cliched side and a little too kid-friendly for me. A little too kind of wimpy. I'd give it 3 out of 5. Now, while Batman Forever wasn't exactly critically successful as the previous two Batman films were, it was definitely a lot more financially successful than Batman Returns because it was pretty much appropriate for the whole family. Now, Jim Carrey's performance as the Riddler, I don't want to go too deep into here, but pretty much he did do a good job with the crazy stuff and all. But there are a couple scenes in which he just pretty much acts like he did in Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, the list goes on. And I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, but usually when you think of the Riddler and Batman, you don't think of him grabbing his crotch. Yes, he actually does that in one scene. Or walking around goofy. Well, anyway, enough about Batman Forever. It was a huge financial success, and as a result, Schumacher was called in to direct the next film, Batman and Robin. It came out in 1997. Had George Clooney playing Batman because Kilmer quit after Forever came out. It has Chris O'Donnell reprising his role as Robin from Batman Forever. It introduces Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl, and in one of his last performances before retiring, Michael Gough as Alfred, who played Alfred in Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman Robin. And he was in his 80s when he did Batman Robin. Talk about dedication. Pretty much, I don't want to talk about this movie too much because if I could sum up this movie in one word, it sucks. The script is the worst script of all freaking time. Almost every freaking line that Mr. Freeze says is a pun on ice, and I kid you not. It is true. I mean, when Batman Forever was released, it was more kid friendly, but still had a couple of like good scenes, had a awesome feel to it. This just takes the kid friendliness to a whole nother level. And a lot of people have said this is a return to the campy fun of the 60s TV show. But man, they went freaking overboard with it in this movie. Schwarzenegger really isn't bad as Mr. Freeze, but his script, oh my god. If someone could change the script, he really actually would have been good. Same thing as George Clooney, and Chris O'Donnell we all know was good as Robin from him playing Robin in Batman Forever. However, Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, horrible. She can't... I mean, she later being like Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, but her role in this movie is horrible. She actually like wanted to play her, but she doesn't even look like sensual or anything. Like if you look at her eyes in one scene where she acts, "I got some wild oats to sow." Like look at her eyes. Her eyes don't have that sensual look in them. Instead, what you see is her eyes tell this story. What was that line? What was that line? Oh yeah, oats to sow. That's like what her eyes tell throughout the whole movie when she tries to act sensual. She like tries to remember her lines. But by far the worst performance in the film goes to Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. I read that she was the first pick to play her and the only pick. Sheesh, did she do a bad job. She's supposed to be Alfred's niece, excuse me. And she's supposed to be from England. She doesn't have a British accent, and the scene where she becomes Batgirl, she doesn't even look determined or anything. She acts like she doesn't care throughout the whole movie. Now, when director Joel Schumacher was making this movie, he just said, "Okay, everybody, this is a cartoon." And I can understand that, but this movie just goes over the top and just sucks. Pretty much, here's the plot in a nutshell. Mr. Freeze is stealing diamonds to power his Sub-Zero suit and help find a cure for his wife. Batman and Robin try to stop him. Eventually, Poison Ivy comes out and starts tricking Mr. Freeze into joining forces with him. She pretty much is the master manipulator of the whole film. And in the end, when Mr. Freeze's plot to freeze the city is foiled, Batman, Robin, and Batgirl kick some butt. They reveal that she's pretty much been the cause of all the fighting throughout the whole film. And when Freeze and Ivy go to Arkham Asylum, Freeze is pretty much makes, to quote him, "Your life a living hell of winter." Pretty much everyone knows this movie sucks the big one. Although it does have some good parts, I must admit, when it gets like the final fight scene, it becomes painful to watch. Yes, a movie so bad it becomes painful to watch. However, since I'm feeling merciful, I'll give it a 2 out of 5. By this time, critics and families hated this movie. I mean, little kids liked it, and I saw this when I was little. I liked it at first, but now that I'm older and I've watched it, I agree with everyone. It sucks! Pretty much after this, Schumacher was going to direct a third Batman film entitled Batman Triumphant. It would be Batman, Robin, and Batgirl against the Scarecrow, who rumor has it would be played by Howard Stern. But that didn't happen. So, and he was supposed to resurrect the Joker through his fear toxin. The Joker would be played by Jack Nicholson again. And his daughter Harley Quinn would be incorporated in the storyline. It was scheduled to come around 1999, titled Batman Triumphant. But ultimately never happened because Batman and Robin bombed so badly. It actually killed the whole Batman movie franchise. And for a while, a couple films were planned, but ultimately never made.